Allison, I have a confession for you.
Okay.
I didn't really know what ROCD was until I read your latest novel.
Even though you knew it was a novel about ROCD?
I was just pretending. I was doing a lot of nodding and stuff.
So what is your understanding of it now?
Okay, so now from reading the book, I think that it is a type of OCD, a subset, where your mind becomes fixated on all of the problems in your relationship. Where
Or
you're
perceived problems.
Right, exactly. Like, are they attractive enough? Do I love them enough? Do they love me enough? Am I in the right relationship? It took me a while to realize that real OCD is nothing like the stereotypes that you see on TV about keeping things organized. It's serious and highly misunderstood condition where unwanted, distressing, and intrusive thoughts get stuck in your mind on repeat. And you feel compelled to engage in these certain behaviors called compulsions to get them to stop. But what's really cool is learning how treatable OCD is with the right kind of specialized therapy. ERP therapy, or exposure and response prevention, not standard talk therapy, which can actually make things worse.
NoCD is the world's leading provider of OCD treatment. All of their licensed therapists truly understand OCD and specialize in treating it with ERP, which is so important because you can't treat it the same way as regular anxiety.
And therapy with NoCD is 100% virtual, covered by insurance for over 155 million Americans, and includes support between sessions, so you're never facing OCD alone.
To learn more about starting OCD therapy with NoCD, go to nocd.com and book a free call to learn more about how they can help. That's nocd.com. Welcome back to Starter Marriage, a show where we examine modern marriage from every angle, including our own relationship. I'm Allison Raskin. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, relationship coach, and mental health advocate, and I convinced my husband, John, to do this show with me.
And I'm John Blakesley, Allison's husband, a writer, policy researcher, and my hands are covered in cuts.
I know, I'm so
I got
sorry.
on a Zoom last night, and I was a couple minutes late for it, so they were waiting for me. So I come up, I look down, and I go, "There's blood on my hands." There's like, what? What do you mean?
That's the first thing you said?
That's the first thing I said. I said, "There's blood on my hands." And my friend's like, "What did you do?" And my hands were bloody. I was taking it from your office, so there was some blood on your desk.
Oh, thanks.
There was blood on I was drinking water. There was blood on the glass. There's blood everywhere because I was working with wood like a real man. I was really kind of just like working with wood, you know?
Okay.
And so I made all these tiny little cuts on my hand and I didn't notice them. And then I looked down and my hands were just covered in blood. They were just sopping wet in blood.
Well, we'd given you one Band-Aid ahead of the meeting.
Yeah, we knew one, but I didn't know about all the others,
you didn't know about all the others.
Yeah, I didn't realize, like, all of them were basically bleeding.
Okay, well, we have a very eventful episode for you today. We're going to be interviewing wedding planners Katie and Adam Schuette about the process of preparing for one's big day, and also all their favorite parts of our wedding because they were our wedding planners.
Right, exactly. It's basically just us trying to get them to say that our wedding was the best.
And that they really liked all the choices we made.
Yeah, we'll interview them a lot and be like, "Oh yeah," and like all this like one-upping other people and stuff. That's all garbage, right? But ours was the best.
But before we dive into all of that, it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the show. Marriage Moment TM. I wish you up, do, baby dee doop.
Finally. Finally, you try something a little different.
Thank you.
You kind of if you're just listening at home, Allison also did like a little movement with her body. It was interesting. I think
I'm back.
I think you're back. You're back. You were really you had a couple bad weeks and now I think you're back. And congratulations, you're back on top.
Thank you. I felt a lot of pressure.
I bet you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so for this week's marriage moment, I want to share something that happened on my birthday this year.
Oh.
Which was, you had already told me that you bought us concert tickets as my birthday gift.
Mm-hmm.
But then one day near my birthday, we were driving home and you went, "Oh my God." And I went, "What?" And you were like, "Stay in the car." And I was like,
"Oh yeah."
oh no. And in my head, I immediately go, there's a dead animal on our driveway or a hurt animal.
Right.
Like there's something horrific that John doesn't want me to see.
Right.
And this is a thing that we've talked about before where like I'll be like, what? And you won't answer me.
Right.
Which just leaves me in my state of fear and anxiety. And so I was like, what is it? What, like I got so worried that there was a dead animal. And because that's like very triggering for me and most people.
Yeah.
But I'm just like always afraid about that there's animals that are suffering.
Uh-huh.
And then it became revealed that my other surprise birthday gift had been delivered. And the box would have shown me what it was.
It said the company's name conspicuously all over it.
Right. But you panicked like it was something actually really bad had happened.
Okay. We have to figure out a code so that when because like, it's like, yeah, you buy a gift that I knew I nailed for you, that I knew you were going to like, and it's a surprise, and it's right there. You're going to see it. And so.
Couldn't you just say, it's your birthday gift and I have to hide it?
Well, you already thought you had a birthday gift, so I didn't even want you to know that there was additional bonus gift.
Just say, you could say, this is, don't worry, honey. It's not a big deal. I'm doing this for fun.
That's a bad code. That's a terrible code. That code takes so long. Don't worry, honey. It's not bad. I'm doing this for fun. That's what you want the code to be?
Well, we could like abbreviate it.
We need like a safe word.
Okay, so a safe word for when you freak out but nothing bad actually happens?
Yes.
Okay, what's a word we never say in real life? Confederacy.
You want me to be shouting Confederacy
No,
in the middle of public places.
No,
I just don't feel comfortable with that in 2025.
What about nicotine?
Okay.
Yeah. So
all right. Nicotine. I'm going to look like a crazed person. Just nicotine. Is that dead animal? Nicotine.
I think that's a good thing for us to have.
All right. I'll say nicotine.
Yeah. If it's like you had a big reaction, but I don't actually need to be worried.
Okay.
Anyway, so then continuing on with this beautiful, what turned into a really beautiful moment after such a shocking moment was when I woke up on my birthday. I had been asking for years for a stuffed animal because I love stuffed animals and I have a childlike wonder around them. And it was something I think you didn't really understand on account of me being 36. But you had not only gotten me a stuffed animal for my birthday, you had gotten me an elephant in honor of my mom, and you had gotten it from the Vermont Teddy Bear Factory, which was this magical place I went to growing up, and I had a few really cherished stuffed animals from. And so I had felt so seen and so loved, and I started hysterically crying.
You did. I knew you were gonna like it, but I wasn't expecting quite the response I got. Yeah,
I had total breakdown.
Yeah, you really did.
And then I had to name her, and growing up, my main Vermont teddy bear's name was Bob Fred.
Right.
Which is sort of just a mashup of the popular names Bob and Fred.
Right.
Because I was a creative kid.
Yeah. Really just making all kinds of unexpected choices.
So I decided that the elephant's name is Sue Ellen.
Right, Sue Ellen, yeah.
And then for days I laughed at her name being Sue Ellen.
There were a lot of emotions around this. Yeah. You were sobbing hysterically. Then you just, every time you said Sue Ellen, you lost it laughing. So, yeah, I'm glad.
Thank you for bringing her into my life.
And now we have a safe word.
Yeah.
Nicotine. All right.
Nicotine.
Who's that guy? Give that guy a cigarette. No, nicotine.
What's yours?
Okay, mine is something that you do all of the time.
Uh-oh.
That is an incompatibility that you and I have.
Oh, no.
That it annoys me, but it's also a side of your sweetness.
Okay.
When we play competitive sports, like if we play like pickleball together on the same team and the ball goes out, like the team hits it to us and the ball is clearly out.
Yeah.
Allison will see that and she'll go, I think it could have been in. It's like a foot out. And Allison's like, no, it was a good shot. I think it should be in. Like, what?
Well, part of it is my OCD that I question myself.
Right. It's like this thing where you're like questioning your reality.
Yeah.
And then other times it's...
Sometimes I just want to be nice.
Sometimes
you're so close, they should get it.
It's not close though. Sometimes it's so far. And like honestly, I feel like if I think it hits the line, I usually give it to them too.
What do you mean usually? If you think it hits the line, you have to give it to them.
Yeah. No, if it's like close and I'm like could go either way on this one, I err on the side of giving it to the person.
Yeah.
But like it's out. like I think one time your dad hit one and you were like, I think that was in. And your dad was like, it's out. Like, it's definitely out. And so.
But it's nice when we play against each other because I give you.
No, I have said, though, before, I've been like, no, it was out, honey.
Oh.
You'd be like, I think it was in. I'm like, no, it's out. But it is a sign that you are so lovely and like you want everyone to have a good time. But it's so funny because I'm just so competitive.
You just want to win. I just want to have a nice time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'll hit like a winner or something and you'll go like, great shot. When someone hits a winner on me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so angry. Do you think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? Just like psychotic brain that I have.
Well, maybe this is a scenario where I could rub off on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I could learn from you. I could definitely learn from you.
Well, here is another lovely marriage moment submitted by a listener. They write, I adore my husband and he is my best friend. We have had a relationship with very low conflict as we both are talk through problems as they come up people and give each other a lot of grace for mistakes. A few months ago, I went to a craft fair with a group of friends. My husband and I had dinner plans with his family. He asked multiple times if I would be home by 4 p.m. since we had to leave at 4 p.m. to make the long drive / our reservation. I promised and swore multiple times that of course I would be home way before 4 p.m. Due to a series of events, some in my control and some not, I got home at 4:30.
Oh no.
My husband was in the car in the driveway, ready for me to jump in since we were significantly late. He was understandably frustrated and disappointed. I apologized and explained what happened. He said, I don't want to be mad at you, but I just need a moment to feel upset. We sat in silence for about 20 minutes, and eventually we were able to move on and have a lovely conversation / drive full of laughter. But what makes this a marriage moment worth sharing is during 20 minutes of silent tension, I looked down at my cup holder. My husband had brought me a can of my favorite drink for the long drive. I hadn't asked him to do this and did not expect that gesture in any way, shape, or form. I think that small moment actually sums up our relationship. Even at his most frustrated and upset with me, even when he has every right to feel disappointed and hurt, he still thought, my wife will want a fun drink for this car ride. It made me cry, and we laughed about that later. I am grateful that in our worst moments, our love for each other can still be at its best.
I really love this marriage moment.
It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Like, you're still taking care of this person even when you're mad at them.
Yeah.
Because you're still on the same team, even if there's, like, some conflict.
And I also think that, like, that's, like, a good, like, habit to get into because it probably helps you get past the anger faster.
Yeah.
To, like, tap into, like, the care.
Yeah.
Can sort of, like, remind us that we, like, love each other and we're partners.
Right. That's so wonderful.
Wow.
Good on these two.
You're going to make it.
We guarantee. Allison, I have a confession for you.
Okay.
I didn't really know what ROCD was until I read your latest novel.
Even though you knew it was a novel about ROCD?
I was just pretending. I was doing a lot of nodding and stuff.
So what is your understanding of it now?
Okay, so now from reading the book, I think that it is a type of OCD, a subset, where your mind becomes fixated on all of the problems in your relationship. Where
Or perceived problems.
Right, exactly. Like, are they attractive enough? Do I love them enough? Do they love me enough? Am I in the right relationship?
Anytime the question involves the word enough,
yeah.
I think that can sort of be a signal that we might be in ROCD territory and dealing with more than typical relationship doubts.
It took me a while to realize that real OCD is nothing like the stereotypes that you see on TV about keeping things organized. It's serious and highly misunderstood condition where unwanted, distressing, and intrusive thoughts get stuck in your mind on repeat. And you feel compelled to engage in these certain behaviors called compulsions to get them to stop.
a lot of times you might not even realize that what you're doing is a compulsion, right? That like, oh, you're checking to see how your relationship compares to your friend's relationship. Like you might like be out to dinner and being like counting like how many times your partner laughs versus their partner laughs. And it's like, you don't, it's so bizarre, and it's not the way that we think about OCD that you could like not even recognize the extent of your suffering.
But what's really cool is learning how treatable OCD is with the right kind of specialized therapy. ERP therapy, or exposure and response prevention, not standard talk therapy, which can actually make things worse.
NoCD is the world's leading provider of OCD treatment. All of their licensed therapists truly understand OCD and specialize in treating it with ERP, which is so important because you can't treat it the same way as regular anxiety.
And therapy with NoCD is 100% virtual, covered by insurance for over 155 million Americans, and includes support between sessions, so you're never facing OCD alone.
To learn more about starting OCD therapy with NoCD, go to nocd.com and book a free call to learn more about how they can help. That's nocd.com. Welcome back to Starter Marriage. It's time to pop the question. This is the part of the show where we dive deep into the main topic of the episode with our incredible guests. This week, we are joined by Katie and Adam Schuette, who co-run KB Events, a family-owned and operated full-service wedding planning and event coordination company. And most notably, in their huge biography, they were our wedding planners.
Yes. Would you guys say that was the highlight of your illustrious career?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What an amazing intro. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, I feel so serendipitous that our lives intertwined because we met you so randomly when we went up to Santa Barbara with my parents to look at this other venue that John had to tell us not to use.
Right. Well, okay. So, and I want to get into this maybe a little bit of like how different sides of a wedding look at things differently or have different decision-making patterns. But like we went up, this was our first time looking at a venue with Allison's parents. And we figured we wanted to do Santa Barbara because it was a special place to us. And we went to the first wedding venue. We look at it and I'm thinking to myself, oh, nice, but absolutely not going to work. This is not going to work at all.
Just because there was one elevator. So like, to go between the different places for like cocktail hour and like the ceremony and reception, like you would have like, I don't know, 70 people waiting on one elevator.
Right. It was on the roof where they couldn't close the pool to other guests, so people could just be in the pool. Then they get into an old elevator that only fits like 5 people, goes down to the basement for cocktail hour, then goes back up to the roof. At like an hour later. It's going to take an hour for everyone to get through the elevator.
And
so,
I was like, this seems good.
Allison,
Let's sign.
Allison, Ken is reaching for his credit card to like put down a deposit. And everyone's like, yeah, this is perfect. I'm like, what? You out of your mind? This is the first place we're looking at, and it's not going to make any sense for this event.
Well, I listened.
And then an hour later, everyone is like...
It was good that we went there because the woman that was showing us around was like, oh, let me introduce you to one of the local best wedding planners in town because you were hosting an event there, like a very small, like a smaller event. Which
I was going to say, I think we were like 60 people that day, and you guys had over 100.
Right.
It's an entirely different event space with those groups of people.
Totally. Right. And so she just like introduced us, and then when we decided we were going to go with that venue, we were going to go with this other venue. We were like, but like, how do we find those wedding planners that we met on the roof? And then my mom was like, I'll find them. And she just like Googled like married wedding planners in Santa Barbara and found you guys.
Wow.
Go Ruth. Well done.
Yep.
Right.
Not many of those.
Which is something we do want to touch on, which is like working together as a married couple. And like, let's start there. Let's get wild.
Right.
Like, how did that decision come to be that you would like run this business together?
That's a great question because we do get asked that. And honestly, I didn't want to do weddings. Like from the beginning, we were getting married and I was like, you know what? She really wants to do weddings. I'm going to help her along, get an assistant for her. and let her be on her way, and we'll get this up and running. And she's like, you have to help me on the first one. I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I went to that first one, and I was sold.
Really?
I was like, this
that quick?
Exactly. It was so exciting. You're there on someone's best day. We loved it. I loved it.
Wow.
It was during dinner. So like we had gone through a lot of the logistics of the day, you know, ceremony, transitioning people from ceremony to cocktail hour to dinner. So once everyone's seated at dinner, you kind of get a breath as the event professionals on the day, like, okay, it's easier going from this point. And he was like, this is really fun. And I was like, what did you expect? You're celebrating someone's like super important day. And he's like, I really like it. And I'm like, yeah, I knew you would.
So you're telling me that a wife roped her husband into doing a creative endeavor that he didn't really want to do, but he wound up really enjoying it, and it was a success.
Exactly.
Yep. For about, 17 years.
Well, I can't relate to any of that.
On this show you didn't want to do. I mean, it is definitely people's like most exciting day a lot of the time, but there's also so much drama and emotion attached to wedding planning.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, this is kind of a risque question, but like through the planning process, are you sometimes able to be like, oh, this couple isn't going to work out?
Great question.
There are moments that are hard. And I think that more than being able to be conclusive, to be like, it's going to work or it's not going to work, just trying to address it. Obviously, it depends on the couple and how well we know them and whatnot, but just kind of trying to plant the seeds of good communication and transparency and like, hey, let's circle back to this point of conflict and see if we can get through it. We've been married for 17 years, so we've had the conflict and worked through the marital issues. We know that people have arguments and have conflict. So it's more how they recover from it than like the moment of tension per se.
Right.
And thankfully, it is usually just, like you said, there's family drama, there's financial elements, there's a lot that goes into wedding planning. And sometimes that just comes to a head in the planning process between the members of the couple. And so it's, to us, what I look for is, can they get through it? Can they work it out? Can they come to a compromise? And thankfully, we have really amazing couples, clearly. And so they're usually able to work it out and say like, okay, I was just hangry that day, or, I thought this was really important to me, but it's not, I don't have that financial value to it, so I don't want to spend that much on it, or, just kind of bringing it back.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because planning a wedding is like this little trial run of life where you're like, have to make all of these decisions, and they're like trade-offs where like we have a budget, and like you want to spend X on liquor and you want to spend Y on, decorations or something, or flowers, or like, and you have to like make real trade-offs constantly and come to like, it's like constantly compromising when you're at your most blissful and planning a wedding, but there's all these like conflicts that come up. And luckily I feel like we were pretty good because you really, Allison,
no one respected me as the bride. All of my ideas were poo-pooed by John and my parents because they were too animal obsessed.
Allison, there were so many animals at the wedding. Like, I don't understand. Like, unless we like did it at a zoo, like how there could have been more animals.
But I wasn't respected as the bride. You know that. Like, there was a sense of like, oh, Allison's kind of got her crazy ideas. And
what did you want to do that you're going to do?
Well, okay, so this is a good example of compromise that you guys helped us navigate. I wanted a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cake as our wedding cake. And John said, that's tacky. We can't do that. But then you guys were like, but what about a beautiful custom artisanal ice cream cake from a local bakery and, local ice cream that's actually
in our favorite ice cream.
In our favorite ice cream, and wowed everybody. And that was like, oh, thank you for helping us navigate that.
Yeah, you found a compromise between the various groups.
How do we take an idea and elevate it, right?
Right. There you go.
But that's,
Absolutely.
what you guys did throughout the process. I feel like you guys got to know us, and then you were like, and then how do we make this feel like you? Which we really appreciated, because I think like some wedding planners perhaps have like are more tied to like traditional, like a more traditional vibe, or like this is the way things should be done. And what I loved was that you guys were always like really open to like being like malleable and creative to like the weird stuff that we like threw your way.
I must say, in reference to the animals, I think you guys struck a great balance of the amount of animals that were incorporated in the wedding, because your animal place cards were so fun. And I think that you guys need to share with the group. You need to find one of the amazing photos from the day and bring that in, because they were so adorable and they added like the perfect touch. And then you guys had the cake topper. And so it was just like little hints of it without it being so over the top. It was still very reflective of the two of you and still a beautiful, elegant wedding. It wasn't like, big cartoon animals or something like that.
Now, Allison, would you have preferred big cartoon animals?
No, but I do think that when I
to the elegant, beautiful wedding that we had?
I wouldn't change a single thing about our wedding, but I do think that when I initially pitched the cake toppers being animals, I sort of envisioned these bats on a stick.
These hideous bats.
It was so funny.
Where did bats come from?
Because I was like looking at Etsy of these different cake toppers, and like ultimately we went with a very classy otter and sea lion bride and groom. Mm-hmm. But there was my initial pitch was a bat bride and groom that were like mid-flight, kind of on a stick.
So then I have a very important question. Had you already taken the animal test that determined that you were an otter and sea lion before the cake topper came into effect, or was that test for the purpose of the cake topper?
That's a great question.
Great question. Very early on in our relationship.
Before we met in person, we took that test.
We were still talking on an app. I sent her that quiz. Little did I know at that point that Allison was obsessed with animals. Like, it was just going around in my group of friends. And so I sent it to her, and wow, I had no idea what a home run I had hit.
Yeah, because then we took the quiz, and I was an otter and he was a sea lion, and our compatibility was off the charts.
Off the charts.
So, John, would you say you started that animal excitement?
Oh no.
See, this all
Oh no. I don't think listeners understand the degree to which our home is being invaded by animal statues. Because now everyone also thinks it's so funny to like give Allison animal statues at every turn. Is it like, haha, like John's gonna kill you, like here it is. And then we're just more animal statues. And we're just surrounded by them.
Another thing I really appreciated about you guys was on the pre-wedding checklist, you had go to premarital counseling.
Yeah.
And that kind of like blew me away, and was also like, yes, I'm so glad that like this is like being normalized and addressed. Like, when did you start incorporating that into your checklist, and like how did you come to that decision?
That's always been super important to us. There's actually other states that require it to get your marriage license.
Oh, wow.
And I am a huge proponent of that. That should be nationwide. Everyone should have to go. It can be any kind. It doesn't have to be like a certain class or whatever. You just have to show proof that you've done it. Because I feel like there is a huge percentage of people that don't ask the 20 or 30 super important questions. Don't talk about, Allison, you talk about a ton of them in your book. Like talking about finances, talking about children or not children, all those things. You have to have those conversations before you get into this commitment. You have to be on the same page, or at least open the conversation. And I just think that's such a huge, important proponent before even starting to plan the wedding.
Do you find that most of your couples end up doing it?
I don't know. I don't think enough do.
Yeah, I doubt it. But, even that, we try to encourage, if you don't do it, still talk through those big questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just so important. If it's just the two of you, or have someone else come in and be the negotiator between you two or something, just talk through them.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that formal. It can, it can be reading through a book together. It can be just printing out a list. I'm sure there's a list online of the questions somewhere. It's just having those conversations. That's not something you want to be a surprise down the road.
Yeah, and I imagine that like sometimes it comes clear to you that people haven't discussed certain things during the process.
Yeah. And we're all about jumping into those conversations with people if they need that help from us as well. Because being a married couple and being together 90% of the time, like we know that these things are going to come up eventually. And we've probably had a lot of the same conversations that you're potentially nervous about having. And so if we can help facilitate those, we're huge proponents of just opening the communication and all of those important facets of life, like things that may not come up for 5 years or 10 years or whatnot, that you still need to kind of anticipate.
And I must say too that, you know, it doesn't have to be so serious when you're chatting about these things, and you guys do that wonderfully. Even in those times where you're like, I don't want an animal theme, you know, but it's with laughter, it's with joy, and I think that those are the conflicts when you come together and it's still fun and exciting to get through. I think that just makes marriage so much easier.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now, not only is getting married such an emotionally charged thing for the couples, but like families, it's such an emotionally charged thing, and there's all these expectations. I'm curious about how you've managed conflict between families, or if you're getting like different directives from different people. I mean, I think we were able to keep my parents relatively tame through it. But I mean, unless you have some secret stories that you'd like to share, open to hearing them that I didn't know about. But like, how do you deal with that when you're getting like people maybe talking to you behind their backs, or fights between the families?
Yeah,
I
like
think
who's in charge? Is it who's paying?
Right.
Is it the bride and the groom? Like how do you navigate those things?
Typically it's the couple that signs our contract, and so they're the ones in charge. And so we'll usually have that conversation early in the process to say, hey, you know, people usually bring it up pretty soon, like, oh, my parents want to be on the initial planning meeting, or they're coming along to this appointment or that appointment. And so before we're in the group of everyone, we have that conversation and say, like, we're happy to incorporate your parents. Like, is everyone's opinion equal weight here? Like, how are we making these decisions? Or is this a decision you want everybody's buy-in on? Is this a decision that like you're bringing them along so they are participating, but you'll make the decision with us privately afterward? And just, again, opening up that conversation to them so we kind of understand what we're walking into beforehand, because there's different levels. There's some parents that want to be really involved and want to give their opinion and want to, you know, have their decision included. And there's other parents that are like, this is fun. I want to come to the menu tasting because this is the only time I'm going to get to go to a wedding menu tasting, and I just want to be there.
Yeah.
Well, my parents had a secret meeting behind our back. Remember that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. They had a secret meeting about the flowers behind our back, that they were going to get us even more flowers than we thought was necessary.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Wow. I don't remember
And
that.
you know what? They were paying, so whatever. It
At least
ended up looking amazing.
At least there's more flowers instead of less, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then my
Exactly.
dad had such a strong opinion about the band. Like, because we were like, oh, wanted to be like money conscious and like get a DJ. And my dad was like, DJs are for bar and bat mitzvahs. You need a band at your wedding.
And then he was like, and you need horns in the band.
He was like, you need horns.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea Ken cared so much about horns.
And then, you know what was one of the best parts of that whole event?
The horns are unbelievable.
People still talk to us about it.
If you're out there and you're planning a wedding and you're going to have a band and you're like, oh, we don't need horns. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you need less food, more horns.
But then I remember your dad saying, like, what do people are going to have a drink at the wedding? Like 1 drink, 2 drinks?
Right. That's
What are you talking about?
Because his frame of reference, not being a drinker, he was like, yeah, people, we shouldn't have an open, we should pay per drink. And you had to be like, that's a mistake.
Well, especially because your dad is so calculated. He's like, I want to know all the costs up front. I want everything outlined. I want it in writing. You know, being a former contract lawyer, he needed to know all the details beforehand.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, it's not necessarily a terrible idea for everyone, but I was like, Ken, this is a terrible idea for you because you are not going to like the bill when it comes to you and all the consumption that you were not anticipating beforehand. It is going to settle your mind much more to be on the bar package, because we usually estimate 5 or 6 drinks a person.
Right, because even if people aren't finishing the drinks,
They put it down.
they're putting it down, they're getting
Yeah.
another one, they want to try this or
Yeah.
that. My dad, like, that concept was, like, so foreign to him.
And my
Yeah.
side of the wedding was finishing the drinks. Let me tell you that. They were not leaving a drink behind. They were going for it.
Yep.
I'm also just, like, curious your thoughts on wedding culture and, like, the wedding industrial complex, because, you know, you guys were not the type to be like, it has to be the best, it has to spend this, you have to do that. But, like, you are involved in that culture where, like, it's almost become this, like, toxic competition to have, like, the most beautiful, stunning wedding. And people, like, take loans out to pay for it. And I'm just, like, curious, like, how you navigate being in that space and what your thoughts are on why it has become this culture that it's become.
I think I just want to first say, do not do that. Do not take out loans to have an amazing wedding. That's a very bad idea. And I find myself saying, you know, all of this, all the planning, you know, even the day of the wedding, at the end, you guys are married. And that is the most important part. Everybody is just coming together to celebrate you. And you guys are going to be together and starting this new adventure as a one person, right? So you guys are coming, you're still separate people, but you guys are going to be a blend. You give and take. That's what marriage is. And part of the planning just leads up to that.
So it's a bit of a dichotomy because I absolutely know what you're talking about and that kind of one-upping situation. And the wedding industry, even in the 17 years that we've been in it, has changed so much. Like I can look back at photos from the weddings when we first started and even the communication and like what was available. Like when we got married, Pinterest didn't exist. And I'm so grateful for that because I'm like, I would have been down that rabbit hole over and over and over again. And I'm grateful that I didn't have the opportunity to do that because it took away some of that comparison and competition. I feel like I think social media kind of perpetuates that. And I think that there's also a challenge for people in the way that weddings are presented within social media and what like the associated costs are with that. I don't think that that's very transparent or accurate online. And so I think that sets people up for heartbreak a little bit with a kind of one-upping or like, look at this beautiful photo. And then the Pinterest title says, have your wedding for $10,000. And it's like, that's
not possible.
Right.
Those two don't match. That's not the same. But our goal is always to reflect the couple and to bring out what's important to them. So like talking to you guys about, you know, incorporating little touches of animals or having the ice cream cake or whatnot, we wanted it to reflect you. But we also know that every wedding comes with a different budget. And so we're not like, you have to spend X amount of dollars or you have to have A, B, and C. We're like, if you think cake cutting's lame, don't do a cake cutting. If you're like, I'm only doing a cake cutting if it's ice cream cake, great, let's do it.
I feel like the one thing that Allison really cared about that I hope that we accomplish, I think we accomplished, she was like, I don't need my wedding to be the most beautiful wedding. I don't need my wedding to be the most emotional wedding. But it absolutely has to be the funniest wedding that anyone's ever been to. And so that's...
Check.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah. And welcome party and wedding the whole weekend.
I will never forget your ceremony.
Really?
Phenomenal. It was so funny.
It was
like
so funny.
I usually watch a little piece and then I'm off and running around doing background stuff, checking things. I was just sitting there watching it. I couldn't leave.
Yes. Well, the incredible JC Calcerano was our wedding officiant, and he just did a ceremony for the ages. And if you're listening to this, you should follow at Tunnel Rats Comedy on Instagram because he is one funny guy.
He kept going to me, okay, is there anything that you want, anything that you don't want? And I said, JC, I don't care, just be funny. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, just go for it. I trust you, just be funny. And then it turned out that according to him, our entire wedding was sponsored by Lipton Brisk Iced Tea.
And it crescendoed to a moment where JC chugged a liter of warm brisk iced tea, then said, that's brisk, baby.
Yeah.
And then pronounced us man and wife. That's how we got married.
Yep. He was about half chug, halfway through, and I was like, is he gonna do it? Like, there was a moment of hesitation. I was like, oh, maybe he's not gonna make it. Oh no, he powered all the way
He
through
did
that
it.
baby.
Allison and I were standing up there, and Allison just keeps going, you don't have to do this.
I remember that.
And it was so humid. Oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Anyway, it was amazing. But
And then I also insisted that we have a survey for when people sat down to fill out if they were having a good time and whose vows they liked better and if there were enough animals. Like, it was like a
Right.
QR code for people to fill out that survey.
and then the welcome dinner. I wish we had video from the welcome dinner.
I know,
It's
me
just
too.
too bad. But like, you know, like our friends are like comedians and stuff, and so they're just like doing a tight five up there.
Yeah.
It was,
Roasting the shit out of us.
It was so good.
oh
It was
my
so
God.
good. I loved the survey. The survey was so fun, and again, just fit the two of your personalities so well. And I was so excited when I saw that, because I didn't realize, like, we had talked about it a little bit, but I didn't know to the extent of what it would include. And then I scanned the QR code and was reading all the survey questions, and I was like, please send me the results. This is so fun. I love it so much. And you guys sent me all the results, and I was like, this is hilarious. I love it.
I have to go back and confirm one thing because I heard it in the toast. And John,
Yeah.
did you really shake the earth when you came into this world?
Yes. Well, I was born on October 17th, 1989, the day of the Loma Prieta earthquake. And so, you know, my dad, I'm glad he brought that up in his toast. Because it was just too perfect that I was getting married on the day of like a 1 in a century hurricane, and so
and
just
a mini earthquake.
and an earthquake, right? And so I shook the earth when I came into this world. America was
Thank you.
moved and forever changed.
Well, I was.
But I think that's a great testament to your day, too. You got married on Hurricanequake Day, which is how it's known in Santa Barbara, the Hurricanequake Day.
Yeah.
And so we had this hurricane that was supposed to make landfall in Santa Barbara. So Adam kept running up to the roof
I know.
of your venue and watching the clouds as they were coming, because we had your ceremonies chairs set up on the roof to start the
I
day.
remember that.
I don't know
yeah.
if you guys knew that or not. We had put up a tent already the day before because there was a chance of rain and whatnot. But Adam was watching the cloud pattern from the roof to see, like, can we make it happen up here? Do we need to do it in the tent? And so he had his eye on that all day. We ended up having the ceremony in the tent, which was the choice because it was drizzling.
That was intense. Just watching those clouds come. I'm like, don't come, stay away, stay away. And I
They
could
came.
not do it. They came, and I had to make that decision to pull those chairs and bring them down.
I
Yep.
know.
But then we were setting all the centerpieces and the extra flowers and candles that your dad decided to add. And we were in the ballroom, and then all of a sudden all the chandeliers started to sway. And we're like, what's happening? And one of the girls on our team was from Texas and had never been in a earthquake before. And so then she starts panicking, and we're like, it's okay, it'll be over in a second. And then it stopped. But all of this happened on your wedding day, and instead of worrying about it or being concerned or whatnot, you guys just incorporated it into all the toasts, and we're married at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that was so interesting about the process because you put so much thought into this day.
Right.
And for months, I had been imagining myself walking down the aisle on that roof. And
Right.
like that's how like I saw the wedding in the vision. And then suddenly it was like, oh, actually I'm walking down the aisle in this tent on the lawn where it was supposed to be cocktail hour. And it just like, yeah, that's like such like a good metaphor for life that like, yeah, like you can still accomplish the goal, but it's gonna look a little different than like your ideal or like what you had envisioned. But it also like led to like all of these like hilarious moments where, you know, if it hadn't been raining, I would have gotten dressed in my bridal suite at the hotel, which was like across the street. But because it was raining, I was like, I'm going to have to get dressed in the bathroom at the event space. And so, but I have this like memory of like getting into my huge wedding dress and my nieces and my mom and my sister just like all helping me get dressed in this bathroom, this like crowded bathroom. And my little nieces like with their hands out being like, here you go, or like ready, like, you know, and ultimately like that's like more special to me than if like I had just like gotten ready like in a more traditional way. Like you get these like fun little moments you don't expect. And even just like that, like the pivoting, right? That like we like it's example, like you guys were like, you guys need a tent. And we were like, we don't need a tent. And you're like, you need a tent a few days before. And like thankfully we were in the position where my parents could pay for that tent. And we just like were like, all right, like let's just do it. And then so many people were like, oh, we thought this is how it was meant to be. We thought the tent was always a part of it. People don't see what you hide.
Yeah, no, I feel like you and I especially were like, you know, it was originally be on the roof. You can see the mountains. It's gorgeous. And everyone's like, okay. It's really nice as it is. Whatever. Congratulations, you're married. You know, like you care about these things more than people do. You know, they're just having a good time, hopefully.
And they also had the candy to keep them happy.
Right.
Because it was important to me that when you sat down at the ceremony that there was candy waiting for you.
Right.
Yes. People don't realize all the decisions you're making in the background. They don't realize the compromises. You know, we had a design meeting, we had a menu tasting where we talked through all of these options, but none of your guests ever know what you didn't choose. And so exactly like you said, John, like, oh, we were supposed to be on the roof with a view of the mountains, and everyone's like, okay. Like they have no idea what you sacrificed or chose against in that process. Most guests are just super grateful to be there and support you guys. And so I think that that's kind of a good tip for anyone that is engaged or planning a wedding now, that it feels like 1 million decisions in the process, but don't worry about things that you decided against, because nobody's even going to think twice of like, oh, maybe they would have chosen fish instead.
And I also think, you know, it, like you were saying earlier, it's so important to separate the wedding from the marriage. And like the wedding piece isn't important to all couples. You know, like some people don't need a traditional wedding, a big wedding. They like might just literally want to go to City Hall. I think for us, like we really just like envisioned the wedding as being a separate thing from the marriage, where it was like this opportunity for our community to come together and to just like have like a really like lovely celebration that just like so happened to also be when we got married.
I love that.
And like doing it in 2023, like coming out of like the worst of the pandemic, there was also this sense of like just like wanting something to celebrate, like wanting people to like be together for like a good reason. And so I think that like that's a thing to like really think about, is like, what is the purpose of the wedding? And is it about the two of you? And if so, that totally changes the direction of it, and like might lead to something smaller, might lead to an elopement, might lead to like, you know, no dancing because you don't like to dance. But like if the purpose of your wedding is to like honor your community and bring your community together, that sort of like leads to a different type of party and wedding too.
And I think that eliminates a lot of the kind of one-upping situation too. If you're really reflecting on what your goal is with the wedding, what your purpose is with your wedding, like you said, bringing everyone together to celebrate after we had all been apart for a really long time is a fantastic goal of a wedding. But if you're like, well, I just went to 7 weddings in a row and mine needs to be better than all those 7, you know, that's harder. It's harder for us as planners, and it's just harder for your mindset. And I think that it's not necessarily setting you up for success in the beginning of that marriage. Like you want it to really serve the sentimental purposes that you want it to, rather than being a competition with other people.
But also like you have to probably be aware of like things that the couple doesn't know or isn't thinking about right now, because like, you know, like one thing that was really important to me and Allison was that like so many weddings you go to, you never see the bride and groom because they're off taking like 1,000 pictures. And the whole time we were like, we really want to be at the party. We really want to be like drinking at cocktail hour and dancing. We don't want to be off doing a photo shoot like some other time. And I feel like you guys did your best to make sure we got that, but also reminding us, like, you know,
we'll want those photos.
You're going to want those photos. And like, yeah, like how often do we take out the wedding album and show people and look at them again? We do a lot. And so that's like probably also something that's tricky for you guys to navigate.
That, I have to say, was a really fun challenge for us. We actually
really?
sat down and had a separate meeting, just the two of us, thinking, how do we still get these photos for them so they have them for the future, but don't call them portraits. Don't call them wedding photos. We call them gatherings, right? We're going to have you come down and just, you come down to meet your family.
Yeah.
And your photographer just happens to be there to see this time where your dad sees you for the first time dressed up.
Right.
There's no photography going on. It's just you guys meeting each other and the photographer is capturing it.
Right.
Yep.
So it was fun.
And I think getting a lot of the photos done beforehand and you guys being flexible to do that and having kind of a separate area to see each other, see your family. And because it was important to you two to have those feel like more candid moments. There were some, posed photos that you wanted, but you really wanted it to feel authentic and candid and not just like constantly, mannequin style photos over and over again. And that goes in huge hand in hand with the photographer that you hired, who's amazing. But just kind of creating those moments of like, we're just going to happen down this way. And it's not for like a formal portrait wedding shoot at all. It's just...
We were being handled.
Yeah, we were being handled. We were being softly manipulated. Oh, you want
the best.
Yeah.
As I often need to be quite honest.
Right.
Well, I felt very strongly that I didn't want to do a first look. Like that,
Right.
I really wanted you to see me for the first time coming down the aisle. And I appreciated so much that there was like no pushback on that. Like, because that was like, a values-based thing for me. It was like I wanted to feel like the moment to feel special in the ceremony rather than like beforehand. And you guys are like, no problem. Like, we'll adapt and adjust to that. Whereas I feel like that's kind of become this norm to do first look photos. And it just like that really bumped for me. And I think like just encouraging people to be able to say like, just because everyone else did something doesn't mean that you have to do it if it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it ended up hiding us. We had you in the ballroom. And so it was you and the nieces and the pups all dressed, hiding you away from
hidden.
John because you ended up getting ready in the ballroom bathroom. And so then we're like, okay, so then we got to keep John in this other area.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
It caused more problems for you, but it worked out really well for us.
Although it's funny.
I was going to say, I remember running over to get Montana and say, hey, come on over here. They're all in the ballroom. Just take some candid shots of them and the pups. And I mean, I love when that happens. It's you get those moments that weren't meant to be, but they make for such great photos later.
We did agree, because we were good sports, we did a private photo shoot mid-wedding on the roof because the rain was over and there was like a rainbow and there was like all this cool light. Yeah. And so, we gave him some time.
We did it. We you handled us well. Because you were like, oh, okay, yeah, we don't have to do that. But what about this a little? And like, hey, maybe that. And like, okay, what about this moment? And then by the end, it's like we had as many photos as anyone else would have had. But it was like made to feel like we were, it was our way.
Right. Yeah. We thought, we didn't take any photos. We really got them. Like, nah, you took a lot of photos.
But it turned out great because it was the way that you guys wanted photos. And so they felt authentic to you, and that shows up in the photos. So they're stunning because you guys felt comfortable in those moments.
I guess my final question is actually just like the term Bridezilla and sort of how that's like become such like shorthand for like women navigating this like big moment, and like how do you push back against the idea of a Bridezilla, or is that something we should just like admit exists?
Yeah, I think as we chatted about a little bit earlier, there's a lot of pressure around weddings these days. And I think that, it could be emotional or like family pressure or financial or that could come from a variety of directions. So I think that it makes sense that people get overwhelmed and potentially lash out at some point. I think that for the most part, there are not people that are bridezillas. I think that people have bridezilla or groomzilla moments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just when that overwhelm builds up. And that's a huge part of our goal in planning is to kind of create that roadmap. Like Allison, you mentioned the checklist. And so you can kind of see what's coming and that we're giving you steps along the way. So you're not feeling like you have to take everything on at once. But I think that typically in our experience, or at least my experience, I suppose I'll speak for myself, is that when I've seen bridezilla moments happen, it's at the height of that overwhelm, and it's more of just an emotional breakdown moment, and that most people don't have the resources or have, whether that's time or finances or whatever, to create that kind of moment of explosion. But I don't think that it's fair to say that all spouses are bridezilla, groomzilla, whatnot. I think that if you have the time and space to plan in a way that feels comfortable to you, that you should be able to make those decisions step by step and not get to that point of overwhelm where you feel like you need to have an outburst. And I think that us creating these labels is doing a disservice to people that are going into a situation that's new to most people, and it's not a decision-making process that feels natural to a lot of people.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. I think that, like Katie just mentioned there, it's not only bridezillas, it's groomzillas too, right? And that brought us to the conclusion that it is it's a stress factor and an emotional factor. Mm-hmm. And rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot of emotions coming up, and they're all coming to this whole planning for a year, and they're all coming to this one moment, right? And they start to feel that, and they get nervous, and that should be there a little bit, right? You should have those nerves play into it. And we consistently say we're advisors before planners, and we're there to help and talk you through those moments and say, yeah, we understand. We're there with you. We've seen this before. And, let's talk you down. Let's talk through it. We're here. How can we help?
To almost expect that there will be these moments of overwhelm rather than like feeling so judged like when they do happen. And
for sure,
kind of coming back to what you said earlier, that like, yeah, we all mess up, but like you can always do the repair work afterwards, right? We don't have to like double down on like when we made a ridiculous demand. We can say like, oh, sorry, I was stressed out about that.
And also like you're dealing with people during one of the most emotionally charged, stressful moments of their lives. It's like all this coming together. And so like, of course, like unless you're just a Zen master, like your things are going to come out like.
Right.
Yeah.
I was a Zen master.
Yo, yeah, for sure. Yeah. No one respects me as the bride.
And I still kept my cool despite this.
Well, and that's an advantage of getting to know our couples over the course of a year, right? So we see the personalities, the things that maybe cause stress, the things that calm people down, whatnot. So we have a little bit of a toolkit before we get to the height of the emotions. Which is helpful because our goal is always to keep people as Zen master on their day.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way with a marriage as well. Just kind of speaking to that side of it, we're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. We're going to blow up on each other, or get a little sassy with each other. And when that happens, it's like, how do you deal with that information afterward?
Mm-hmm.
How do you move forward from there?
Yeah, the rupture and the repair. Thank you so much for joining us. We have to end with this final question we ask all of our guests, which is, who is one fictional couple that you think should have gotten divorced and why?
Marge and Homer Simpson should have gotten divorced.
Whoa.
They're still
What? I'm a huge Simpsons fan. You're gonna have to explain that to me.
They are in 30 plus seasons. 30 plus seasons, and Homer is still strangling his child. He's drinking beer, strangling his child. I mean,
right.
He is, I would say, not the best man, but Marge just puts up with it.
Yeah.
She just stands there. I'm like, she deserves a little better.
Oh, gross.
You know?
But Homer's got some good qualities. He he believes in clean energy since he works at the power plant. He's got his bowling friends, and he spends a lot of time at the bar, and
he can't remember Marge's anniversary still.
30 seasons
wow.
is a lot of seasons to forget anniversaries.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But she loves homie.
Well,
it's a good honestly,
good
that's a
answer.
good answer.
Maybe they just need some marriage counseling.
There you go.
That's true.
Ooh,
All right.
It's never too late to change.
yeah. I'm sure he'll bring a beer.
He
Yeah.
will. He will. A duff. Yeah.
Well, this was so wonderful. We are so thankful for the role that you guys have played and continue to play in our lives. And where can people find you? And please, if you are getting married, I could give you no bigger recommendation than to work with Katie
Yeah,
and Adam.
seriously.
And I've said that to so many people.
Oh,
We
thank you so
appreciate
much.
guys. Yeah.
Yep. So we are KB Events. You can find us on our website, kbeventsSB.com. SB is for Santa Barbara, which is our home base. So we definitely specialize and our expertise is in Santa Barbara County. And that's the best place to find us. We also have our Instagram if you want to take a look at some of our current and past weddings, whether you are a newly engaged couple or you just want to look at pretty things, at KB Events SB.
I have to say, your dad as well. It was really fun watching him go through all of our vendors' contracts. I love that stuff. I enjoy it. I always say, oh, our contract's been looked over by like 20, lawyers. And so I've refined it. Again, flipping the script, right? It's like, oh, you can get mad at that, but you can also say thanks.
Right.
I didn't have to pay for that, and so we had him look over it, and we were reading all these contracts, and it's like red, underlined, like, and our vendors are like, what's happening? I'm like, guys, just fix your contract.
Yeah.
Let's do, I mean, that's
Take it
what
as a
he
blessing.
does.
Yeah.
So would you say that Ken Raskin was on the like extreme end of the lawyers that you've been with in terms of marking up the contract?
Oh yeah. No, and it was a good thing. I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Well-
No question, the most detailed adjustments to the contract.
I regret that we didn't get them on record saying we were their favorite couple they'd ever worked with.
Right. Yeah, we really should have
Because
done
they probably would have felt pressured to say it whether or not it was true.
100%.
And then we could hold on to that.
We could just send it out to all their clients. Every time they post a new wedding in their feed, we'll just be like, oh, yeah, but have you seen this video where they look into camera and say that we're their favorite couple ever?
We'll have to have them back.
Yeah, we will, yeah. We'll say we got to do a couple pickups. And
Yeah. Okay, well, it's time for the final segment of the show, my soon-to-be patented game show, Stay or Leave.
Sounds fascinating. I can't wait to learn more about how this game is played.
Well, funny you should ask. It's a game where I present you with a hypothetical situation of what I might do in the future of our marriage, and you decide if you would stay or leave me, because marriage is a choice, not a trap.
What an interesting social science experiment. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you. I decide that in honor of our 5-year wedding anniversary, we should mark the accomplishment with matching tattoos. This would be your first tattoo, and I also want to pick out what it is
No.
and surprise you with it, so you can't even see it until it is permanently inserted into your skin. I say this is the most romantic way to do it, and don't worry, you will definitely love it because I have great taste in tattoos. Would you stay or leave?
I think I'd stay.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd let me just, tattoo a random thing on your body without your approval?
Well, here's the thing. I think your tattoos are really tasteful.
Thank
And I
you.
think you would give a lot of thought into what I would want on my body.
Uh-huh.
And so I think it would probably be good.
And I
so,
can pick the placement and the size?
well, look, if I'm sitting into the tattoo parlor and they're like, okay, she wants like a lot of teardrop tattoos on your face. Like just like I'm gonna be like, no. Or like it's her face on your chest.
You don't know what it is until it's over. You don't get to see it before.
What do you mean? They're doing it on my body.
You're blindfolded.
I'll feel where the tattoo is.
Yeah, but you won't know what it is.
I guess I would say that I would trust you that you wouldn't do anything so wild.
That's beautiful. So now we know what we'll do in 3 years.
No.
You heard it here first, folks.
No.
John has agreed to this, and it's happening.
I feel like I've been staying a lot lately on stay or leave. And so I think you have to really figure out what
will get you to leave.
Yeah, because this one I think is clearly I think I would stay.
Interesting. This gives me a lot of power.
No. What am I doing? What are you doing, John?
No, but I do have excellent taste in tattoos.
Yeah, so I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, we did it. We made it through another full episode of Starter Marriage, which you can watch on video at youtube.com/justbetweenus.
And remember to like and subscribe. Give us 5 stars, please. It really helps the algorithm push this out and have more people listen to it.
Yeah, if you're like, I could want to hear them talk about this for years to come, you have to leave us
you got to do it right now. Yeah.
Or there's no chance we'll get renewed. Also, if you want to submit your marriage moment for us to read on the show, which we absolutely love to do, please send an email to startermarriagepodcast@gmail.com. That's startermarriagepodcast@gmail.com.
And if you are interested in reading more about marriage, why don't you check out I Think Conversations About Modern Marriage by Allison Raskin, or check out her Substack, Emotional Support Lady.
Or John's Substack, Wrong Man for the Job. And as we say in our home, good night to me, the Alibaba.
Good night to you, the Alibaba.